Subscribe or they will haunt you.
What is the scariest thing you have had happen to you on the internet? This guy I don't even know sent me a message request on Instagram saying hi, my first name. I, being a dumbass, replied to it and asked how did he know my name. Now I could have ignored it and just let it go. He then proceeds to say how I'm so beautiful and he likes how my hair is so smooth. He also says that my hands are so tiny and cute and they'd feel amazing on his dick. I fucking creeped out at this point and I blocked him. The entire week I was fucking paranoid, afraid that someone was watching me. Yeah, also this happened when I was 12, I just got introduced to social media. I used to do this thing on my YouTube channel where I would raise money for charity by growing a mustache for a month, Movember, and then at the end I would shave the mustache off, glue the hair to the mustache part of a photo of myself, and send it to a subscriber. Seems weird as hell, but my YouTube channel was weird as hell, so people loved it. It was like a 4D photo. Anyway, one year a few weeks after sending the photo I get this email from a lady going insane about how I am going to jail. Turns out the person who had won the mustache photo had lied about their age and was actually a 16-year-old girl. Not only that, but the frame and glass paneling around the photo had been badly damaged in the post. So her daughter basically received a box of hair, smashed glass and a photo of me. Tried to explain to the mum, but she wasn't having it. Was really freaked out about getting in trouble for like half an hour. But then realized she was in a different country and really doubted there would be an international sting to arrest me for it. Still got my heart beating though. I narrowly avoided getting raped by a pedophile. Story: I was 12 and have just moved to the US, hence didn't have any friends yet. To kill time I would use one of those messenger programs, think MSN or AIM, to socialize with people. I started talking to this one guy who spoke my language. He also lived roughly in the same area. He said he was 15. As we talked, I, being a lonely and naive 12-year-old girl, was led to believe that he really liked me and wanted to meet. Red flags everywhere, sexual innuendos, pervy comments. He was asking me about my private life, and clearly being a virgin, I told him that. He then encouraged me to lose my virginity as soon as I can, because my girl friends have told me that if you lose it after you turn 13, it hurts really bad. He kept insisting that we meet. Luckily, before anything happened, my Snoopy mom read the messages and had a talk with me about how he is a bad man, and made me realize that I was about to walk into a serious danger. I remember messaging with that person one last time, and I expressed my discomfort with his suggestions. He asked if he could at least squeeze my ass. When I said I was not comfortable with that, he said, "If you don't want to fuck and you can fuck if you whore," and blocked me. Dodged a really big bullet there. Thanks, Mom. I once saw my first and last name on Reddit when I was scrolling through a post and freaked out thinking someone had doxed me. The sub was up in arms trying to get me fired from my job and ruin my life. Turns out they had doxed another user for being a racist online, who just happened to have the same name as me. I only figured out when I went back to the original comment and read the replies and noticed that the person they were after lived in another country. Damn shame there's another person walking around with my name soiling it. I have multiple stories. This random person added me on Snapchat, and I usually don't accept everyone who adds me, but the dude kept messaging me, and I decided to know what he wanted. Anyway, I messages him back, but didn't accept his follow yet, and even though I was on ghost mode, he threatened to kill me, while stating my address and name and everything. I never uploaded anything online related to my personal info, not even on my personal accounts. I was creeped TF out and reported him. Second time, I was on Skype with a good friend of mine, and we were playing Minecraft. This was a while ago, lmao, and out of nowhere a girl joined the chat. At first we thought she was legit, but something sounded off about her voice. My friend and I then figured out that whoever was talking had a voice picture to sound like a girl. We ended up pranking the girl, and when we found his personal info, we realized how much of a creep he was and blocked him. Third, I was at my secondary house when I met a girl and her little sister. She seemed very shy and sweet and we had a few conversations. Then, about 2 years later, she commented on my Instagram admitting to liking me. Why did she DM it? And she eventually added my Snapchat. Again, don't have it posted anywhere, so how she got it. And she ended up sending me tons of nudes and begging for sex. Blocked immediately. In 2013, when Minecraft was at its prime, I was playing it using a cracked version with cracked multiplayer server, cause the then 13-year-old me didn't have a credit card, and my parents won't let me have theirs, even in exchange for the rough $30 cash I saved up cause I really wanted to change skins and join many famous servers. I always played it with one specific username. One day I joined the usual crack server I play at and do random mining and stuff, but then a guy randomly chatted with me asking me if he could teleport to me, so that we could mine together. I was like, yes sure why not, and invited him. Bad idea. He started putting signs which read, "I know who you are of course." I laughed it off and asked him what it is. He then put two signs again, "Your name is X, and you live in Y," and holy shit man, that was the most chilling heart-stopping moment I ever had in my life. He then proceeds to take most of the diamonds and loots I collected over the months after telling me that I should do everything he says, or he will tell my parents about the porn pictures I have in my PC. Me read lots of creepypasta stories and other stuffs about dark web and hackers, about how they will find everything you hide in your PC, got me all scared shitless at that time. The next day at school it turns out it was my friend all along. It turns out when he came to my house a few months back, he saw the same cracked Minecraft in my PC that he uses, and decided to scare the shit out of me. He never told me he played Minecraft too. Turns out when I wasn't looking, he logged into my cracked Minecraft launcher, and checked the servers I saved. He took a picture of them, so that he could join them too. The username I used was pretty distinct, and used it for other mobile games etc., so it was easy to figure out it was me. I was about 8 years old when this happened, around 2008-2009, but I used to love optical illusions, especially the ones where they hypnotize you, stuff like that. Well, I clicked on a video, in all caps, the best optical illusion ever on, was thoroughly traumatized for the rest of my life. I still have nightmares about it. The first image that popped up, it wasn't a screamer, it was just an image of a disfigured bloodied baby head, with one eye rolled back and the other half of its face missing, having jagged teeth and a bruised up body. I think it was the album picture of some band or something, either that or some weird painting, but it scarred me for life. I had an 18-year-old guy decimeters on Insta after I posted some goofy selfie with a cringy caption made by a 12-year-old. He says he's 15, that he lives in Singapore and thinks I'm cute. Now, me, being a naive 12-year-old girl who thought having a boyfriend was cool, started talking to him. He keeps asking for selfies with cute filters or funny faces, but at one point, he asked for a pic of me in just my bra. I knew this was wrong, so I declined. All of these messages had happened before I had to leave for school, so after I declined his pervy request, I had to go to school. When I got home I saw that I had a new message from him, so like the excited 12-year-old I was, I opened it. Want to take a guess at what it was? A dick pic. I was super confused and creeped out, so I decided to check his profile to make sure he really did live in Singapore. After some looking, I found a video of his 18th day party. That's right, he lied about being 15, tried to get me to send inappropriate pictures to him, and send me a dick pic. He was promptly blocked. But it doesn't end here, no sir. He made a new account and messaged me from there, asking me why I blocked him, and saying I was whore for not sending him picture etc. I blocked him again. Luckily he didn't message me again often that. I talked to this guy who was very different. At first he seemed genuine. But as he opened up, I realized that he was going to turn out to be a murderer, rapist or something. He mentioned how he molested his cousin who was younger than him, which made him go into jail for a couple of years. Yeah, he regretted it, but it doesn't stop there. He mentioned how after a breakup, he emotionally abused the girl until she had enough and left him. He was so numb to everything that he'd shoot people with pellets. It was so bad where he shot this older lady in the head at a grocery store from a distance that she literally dropped and started crying in agony. And he felt nothing. He didn't care about seeing her in agony, he didn't care about anything. It was like he just felt no remorse for anything. After realizing that we always talked about him, and he barely asked about me, I got angry. There was a day where I really needed a friend and I came to him. And he basically brushed me off and then started talking about himself again. I called him selfish and tried to logically explain how he was selfish and how he made me feel. But instead, he decided to curse me out and say some really vile, scary things like he hoped I died. He hoped I took my life. He didn't care about me. He just pointed out all of my flaws, all of my insecurities and threw them at my face. And it got to the point where I really did want to kill myself, and he only calmed down about it because he didn't want to go to jail for bringing me to that point. His words, not mine. I cut him off. and even when I cut him off, he still didn't apologize. He didn't see anything wrong with what he said to me or how he treated me. All he could think about was that I called him out for being selfish. And I was wrong for doing that, so I deserve his verbal abuse. I have never been afraid of anyone, but this guy, he scared me. The brick video taught me two important lessons. The first lesson: the people you love can be taken from you at any time. Don't take them for granted. The second lesson, contrary to what the dead-eyed, empathless watchers of the web will tell you, watching horrific videos of people dying on the internet doesn't make you strong and can actually do you some damage. That video in particular has been cited to give people mild forms of PTSD. It's not just the brick video either. There's a plethora of stuff out there that can affect you. Much worse things. That video was horrifying. It was scary. I still think about it from time to time. That's the one that always comes back to me. So bottom line, you do not want to see this video. I'm probably gonna get asked, so I'll quickly summarize the content. Family driving down a highway in their car. There's a truck in front with bricks stacked on the back. A brick comes loose and bullets through the windshield, hitting the passenger directly in the head. You don't see anything, but you can assume it was catastrophic because of the driver's reaction. Pain, screaming and crying. Then the kids in the back start crying. Truly awful. Not something you want to see or hear. When I was 17 and a complete idiot, I was on the monitored Omegle video chat, and the site kept sending me back to the same guy who had all my interests tagged. His webcam was covered and he'd say things that seemed like they were compliments, but they made me a little uncomfortable. He asked me to stand up and turn in a circle, so I did, thinking it was a silly request. He said I look fit and like somebody's dream girl. He kept lamenting that I wasn't legal, but didn't stop complimenting me. After the 6th or 7th time we got put together in a chat, he asked for my Skype, and, lonely and thinking this was someone who was being nice to me because he was nice, I agreed. We started a video call on Skype, and I started asking him to uncover his webcam. He said he was just shy, but I said I didn't mind what he looked like, I just wanted to see his face. I didn't really see anything wrong per se, I just thought it was sad that he didn't feel comfortable letting me see him. He finally said he would, but that I wouldn't like what I saw. The guy was in his late 20s minimum, maybe early 30s. He said right after he uncovered the webcam that he was going out for a smoke. I sat and stared at an empty room before realizing just how creepy this was. I blocked him and never used Video Omegle alone again. TLDR, 17-year-old me was a classic stupid teenage girl and fell for the most obvious of creeps because she was lonely, probably got screenshots of her butt saved to some guy's computer. Not as scary as some things, but I still get creeped out by it, and I can't believe I was that dumb. Back in like 2009, those free Microsoft Points sites were popping up on the internet for Xbox. And I remember my dumbest found one, and it actually looked so legit. I was like, damn, this might be for real. I vividly 15 to 16-year-old me telling my buddy, dude, I'ma get like 80,000 Microsoft Points, it how I was this damn gullible and stupid, but I was apparently. My buddy said something like, bruh, you are an idiot if you do that. You gonna get hacked. Sure enough, few hours later said buddy calls me and says, yo, are you on Xbox right now? I said no, why? He said, go try to get on right now. So I went turn on my Xbox. I couldn't log in. Would not let me get on at all. Didn't take long to put 2 and 2 together and realize my big f*** up. That account had my parents' credit card or debit card on it at the time too. So I was freaking out thinking whoever has my account is gonna blow massive amounts of money, I'ma get in trouble, I'm never gonna get my account back. My buddy started messaging my account to give me my account back. Whoever had taken it actually started replying to us saying the cards aren't working, that he wants money for it. We went back and forth with whoever this was for a while. Luckily the cards were expired so they didn't work. That was great. But he was still holding my account ransom. Told us he wasn't giving it back unless we paid him. I don't remember what we said, how that exchange went down, but we stayed messaging him for hours till he finally gave me my account back. The dude had changed everything in my profile and account info to different shit. The email, street address, everything. Everything was different. Well, after that, I got really protective about my online information. I ended up changing my Xbox password to some crazy-ass confusing thing, so that no one would ever be able to figure out my password. I never went to those free Microsoft Points sites again after that either. But then the Xbox 360 Slim came out, and when I bought it, I legit forgot my email and my password associated with that account from me changing it to Wild Snit. That gamer tag is babaganoush. I had like 32,000 gamer score on it too, something I really prided myself on. I always enjoyed getting achievements. Well, my friend taught me how to mod achievements on 360. I did that to get my gamer score back. Well, Microsoft figured that out somehow, and that account got banned. So, I made a new account which is my username and basically started from scratch, and said f*** it. So if you look online on Xbox, babaganoush is whoever got the original name, babaganoush is my account that got hacked, and I lost my account info, and babaganoush is me currently lol anyways. That's the scariest thing that's ever happened to me on the internet. Lol. A few years ago, I got like hundreds of replies from this girl on Tinder that I could tell had some serious mental health issues. After replying to her with something like, "What the f***?" She tried to say I was racist for not wanting to hang out with her, saying she was gonna f***ing kill me and or kill herself if we didn't hang out. I don't really entertain threats. I've been threatened a million times on Xbox Live, so I don't take 'em very seriously. But then I get a text to my phone on f***ing Halloween of all nights saying, "You're really funny, Mr. my last name." Then this person tries to convince me to apologize and even hang out with the crazy bitch. Like, give her a chance, Lamau. They insinuated they'd murder me, so I just spent a good hour de-escalating the situation, and even making the anonymous texter lol at jokes and stuff. I did this for peace of mind. I also apologized to the crazy bitch, but would have never hung out with her in a million years. Blocked her after a few days and never heard anything else. Now, I know how to find names through a phone number, so I'm not nearly as freaked out by it anymore. Plus, it's one thing to make a threat, a whole other thing to actually do it. Although, they also knew my then address, which was a bit weird, considering I wasn't on the lease there. Albeit my brothers were, so they likely just connected the dots. This was years ago before smartphones and before I had a computer in my house. I went to use the internet at the public library. Now this particular library had like 10 floors, and I went there a couple times a month. One day I was at the library talking on some chat line, and this guy started talking to me in a private message. He started getting really creepy, so I blocked him, but that didn't stop him from continuing to talk to with different usernames. So anyways, I got up to go to the bathroom, and when I came back he asked me where I went. When I asked him what he was talking about, he said, "You got up and left. Where did you do?" I was freaking out at this point, but at the same time I thought maybe he was just messing with me, and maybe noticed I hasn't chatted in a bit and assumed I went somewhere. Well, then I had an itch and scratched my arm, and he asked me why I was itchy. Then he got even creepier and started describing the clothes I was wearing, and saying how he can't wait to take them all off and do dirty things to me. He described exactly what I looked like and what I was wearing. He asked me why I wore glasses and stuff like that. I got up and went to another floor of the library, but that didn't stop this creepy weirdo from talking to me. Eventually he got scary. He knew I took the bus to the library, and from how he talked to me, it was as if he was stalking me. He told me how if I didn't stop ignoring him he was going to follow me home and rape me. At that point I had enough abs, logged off and told a librarian what had happened. She called the police and they drove me home because there's no way in hell my 19-year-old self was going to take the bus on that day. This is my first Reddit post and I have so many stories to tell. Unfortunately, I have old stories to stir up that are creepy. This one is one of the worst. I've never told my parents about this, but I wish I had. Yes, I do know now that I was incredibly stupid, and that who knows what could have happened. I was a very stubborn and idiotic teenager. Please always tell your parents and or the police if you are reading this and something like this is happening to you. I was always fascinated by computers, like ever since my dad took his children to his workplace. He was a journalist and of course worked with computers, and later bought his first PC for our home. I am 29 years old now and this happened when I was 14 or 15. Naturally, I would explore the internet when I was a kid, and this continued when I was a teenager. I enjoyed it very much and I still do. AOL was still a thing back when I was younger, and I was discovering some of the things you could do on there. Of course, I found the chat rooms and went there every once in a while. I started talking to a guy and I thought that he was quite nice. I was a dumb teenager and started talking to him regularly and found out that he lived in a bigger city next to the small town I lived in. I kinda had a crush on him after a while because he was flirting with me even though he knew that I was a bigger girl. That was very important to me because I was very insecure about myself. I even imagined him being my first boyfriend and cringy stuff like that. I wanted to show him how I look like because I expected him to like me. So I asked my mom to take a picture, and my excuse was a new haircut I got earlier that day. I just said that I wanted to see how it looked in pictures. Well, his response was very positive, and he assured me that I was exactly his type. He told me that he liked girls that weighed more than average females did. He knew about my age and I was very honest about myself. I don't know why, probably because of his nice and flirty words, but I never asked him how old he was. I was still am that kind of girl that is more interested into the personality of people I meet, but as I said, I was a stupid teenager and just didn't see any red flags. One of those red flags was that he didn't send a picture back, by the way. Apparently I remembered about some of the basic questions and asked him some general stuff. At first he didn't respond, maybe he was AFK, maybe he didn't know if he should lie to me, but then he answered honestly. He was over 40 years old, married and had 2 daughters that were just 2 or 3 years younger than me. Needless to say that my heart sank to my boots. In my head I must have assumed that he is a teenager as well, simply because we were online at the same time, and because of his choice of language. I immediately wanted to stop interacting with this guy and told him so. After he sent me some emails begging me to chat with him, he finally gave up. Well, I thought. A few weeks have passed and I checked my emails to find a message from him. It was something along the lines of, "Hi Kabolblau, I saw you at school today. Well, actually I saw you behind a building near school smoking with friends. I didn't know that you were that type of girl." I was flustered, but I didn't smoke, so I knew that he mistook another girl for me. I told him about that and he didn't believe me. I remember that he was a bit sassy about it. I said that he should leave me alone already because he is getting creepy. He didn't reply and I felt a bit better. Fast forward like 2 to 3 weeks and I receive another email. "Hey Kabolblau, I saw you at the veterinary practice today. You look very nice. I didn't want to talk to you since you were there with your mother, so I just returned home. I was scared to death. This time it was me. He really saw me with my cat and my mom. I panicked a little, but I thought that enough is enough. I was naive, but I was at least bright enough to get that he had left because he was uncomfortable with my mom being there, and he knew that he is thinking about doing something wrong. He knew that he was scared if anyone would find out about this. I wish I did something cool, but I was very haughtily and didn't want to admit anything to my parents. I threatened him to call the police and get my parents involved if he didn't FCK off. He did delete his account after I told him that his daughters and his wife would be very interested into an investigation because he is a disgusting pedo. I never heard a word from him and nothing happened to me, luckily.